I'm not all surprised at all that there is no $15 minimum wage included in the coronavirus relief bill. By the way, you need to remember that not one Republican wants you to receive a 1,400 stimulus during an economic downturn. But what Republicans lie to people and say that, oh, corporations want to raise the minimum wage because it'll eliminate small business. Yeah, yeah, yeah. What Republicans don't tell you is that when people have more money to spend, they're able to pay more. They're able to have more money to spend on the more expensive small business goods and services. That's what Republicans don't tell you. Small Business Association even says that if people had more money to spend, if you raise the minimum wage, it's more likely that they spend it at a small business versus a large corporation. So this is how Republicans lied to you that, oh, raise the minimum wage can destroy small business. It helps small business when you raise the minimum wage. It's more money in people's pockets to spend. When people are not making enough money, they're going to buy the more inexpensive goods from corporate America. When you have the minimum wage stagnant for all of these decades, that has been done by corporate America. Corporate America wants to abolish the minimum wage. If they had their way, they would abolish the minimum wage. If that's what corporate America really wanted, they would have already raised the minimum wage right now. So we're seeing the evidence that if this $15 minimum wage truly hurt small business, corporations would have already rushed to pass that. Because corporations run both chambers of Congress. They completely own the Republican and Libertarian parties, and they own, I would say, about over half of Democratic Party, because to the Democratic Party's credit, we do have a progressive wing. The evidence cannot be any further than the so-called perception that Republicans are lying to the voters. And we are really concerned about a downtime in America when traditionally blue-collar voters are going away from the party that is better for their own self-interest. Blue-collar voters are on the rise, turning to conspiracy theories in a party that does more harm to their own self-interest. So working people in America are becoming dumber and stupider. And this is a fact. And this is something that is happening right now. I'd say the Freedom Works, the Libertarian Party, and the right-wing propaganda circle on AM radio is doing a great job with all their conspiracy theories of dumbing people down. And by the way, I'm talking about excessive conspiracy theories to where it's outright paranoia and not just actual legit conspiracy backed by fact. It's backed by thin air, literally. Whatever comes out of their butt crack is what's behind some of those crackpot conspiracy theories, including QAnon, which is an organized conspiracy theory of the establishment. Right? If this truly hurt small business, $15 would have already been passed. You just have to use your head. You got to have to understand simple economics. Republicans don't understand economics because they think the wealth is going to continue to trickle down. We've seen what happened since Ronald Reagan. We've seen a rise of the cost of living. We have not seen wages kept up with inflation. Investment only happens when demand goes up, whether through government spending or whether it be through more money in people's pockets through the private sector, which is not happening. Which other demand only happens when the government is getting involved nowadays, ever since the Obama Stimulus Act, right after the economic recession. That's really when expansion started. It all comes down to this. You know the truth. Big corporations and Republicans sit here and lie and say that small business, say that a minimum wage increase is going to hurt small business. It's actually the opposite. An increase in the minimum wage means more money to spend on more goods. Guess what? I can afford these more expensive small business goods. Why do you think corporate America wants people to make 7, 8, $10 an hour? So they only buy the cheap Big Mac at McDonald's and these cheap generic goods at Walmart. That's what big corporations want. This is what the billionaires want. Billionaires want the people to continue to be dumbed down, which I'd say they're doing a good job of about 4/10 of the country. But guess what? Most people know better. But they're sick and tired of these modern Democrats, really nothing but Republicans. Joe Biden shifted jobs overseas. Joe Biden voted for Iraq. Right? Joe Biden is against the $15 minimum wage. He is a Republican. This is why I didn't vote for Joe Biden at all. I voted Green Party because Joe Biden and Kamala, let's not prosecute Trump, are Republicans. Bill Clinton's a Republican who went along with the Republican NAFTA. These guys are Republicans. The Republican Party is a far-right fascist organization. The Grand Obstructionist Party began when the Republican Party, Bill Clinton wanted to end welfare. He wanted to cut immigration. Republicans still wanted to oust Bill Clinton at all costs, and they sat here and said, we want to make Obama one-term president. Remember this, Republicans are always worse for you because they give the billionaires more wealth. They always sit through every economic downturn, no minimum wage, no social welfare programs for working people that need it, no environmental and safety regulations. This is the Republican Party in a nutshell. It's time to call out the Republican Party on their lies because small business owners who understand economics and the power of economic growth through aggregate demand understand that they are hurting because people do not have the money to spend on their goods. The evidence is astonishing. This is going to be a clear verdict. If big corporations wanted $15 an hour, it would have already been done. But instead, they don't want it to pass. The corporate Democrats they're sabotaged $15. Joe Biden and Nancy and Chuck know that they're not going to pass it because they're bought by corporations too. You guys know the truth. You have to use your head. Small business wants an increase in the minimum wage. That's what LC and Bernie Sanders bought. But they ain't showing no balls right now against corporate Democrat establishment.